Hey y'all, I'm Alex with Soulmates of Georgia, and it's early November. I'm down at the farm. It's a work day, but today work day for me is at the farm. I'm playing hooky from work, and my dad's due any minute now. We're gonna do some chainsawing and some brush clearing. We try to do this kind of stuff in the fall and winter more than during the summer because we want to avoid the snakes and some of the bugs that get to us. So we're going to get after it in a few minutes, see if we can clear out some good areas, not clear out the trees that have fallen into the pastures, and do some good. But it's going to be a fun day. It's supposed to get up to 70 today. Sun's supposed to come out right now. It's off and on drizzly or kind of heavy mist. So I'll try to get some footage, and it should be fun. This is the tree we're dealing with today. Not too much in the pasture, but the more it lays here, the more it'll cover ground. Everything will grow up around it. It was down here, rooted in here, and big rain came and just came on loose about 6 months ago. So shouldn't take us too long, hopefully. Famous last words. It'll probably take us all day. All right, I'm gonna whip through some of this footage here just because it took us a couple hours to get through this, and that'd be boring as could be. So I will say there's really nothing better than a day of father-son time. My dad's awesome, and we just have a great time working down there. Here's where his chain came off, so we reset it, got back at it, and each have our own kind of areas we're working on, so we're not right next to each other for safety reasons. I found out my chain was really dull, so I'm ordering a new one this afternoon, but you'll see in a minute how bad it really is. We started working on the tree, but all these cedars here were in the way, so I'm cleaning those out as my dad works further up on the main tree. But I want to show more of a close-up of how I'm getting these trees to fall where I want them to, in the direction I want them to. I had to change shirts because it was already too hot. But I don't think this t-shirt, this long sleeve t-shirt, is going to last too long before I go down just a short sleeve. I had to take off my protective goggles because they were getting too fogged up to see, so I figured they were being less safe than safe, but I definitely wear these still. Alright, just to get the obvious out of the way, I am not a professional, and this is not a complete how-to guide. But this is how I've learned to do it, basically from watching other YouTube videos and doing some little reading. But if you put a wedge in the side of the tree that you want it to fall, and it's supposed to only go about a third of the way through. I went a little bit further here, and you can really see how dull my blade is. I've got this video running at twice the speed it was recorded, and I'm still just barely cutting through it. It still looks like it's taking forever. I'm really having to work the blade around trying to find different areas where it can cut. If I try to cut the whole width of the tree, it really struggles, so I'm kind of hitting side, in the middle. Then after you have the wedge, you can come through, make sure your area is clear in there. Come through close to even with the wedge, and what it does, that angle takes the weight off of that side, so when it's cut from the back, you do the back cut in there, it just falls down in the direction you want. And as soon as I see it, I get out of the way just to make sure it goes where I want. And you can see it was right where I directed it originally, and it fell where I need it to. We just took care of this tree, and probably about 12, maybe 15 cedars that were all in here. You can see all that area that's all leaved up in there. That was all covered, so now the grouse will be able to come out, sun will get to it. Cows will have a little bit more area to graze. They don't graze under cedars. Cedars drop some nasty sap that they don't like the taste of. So now we're debating if we're going to come back and do that after lunch. And I think I'm going to keep these logs for camping, for firewood. But it's been good. We're exhausted already, but that's what lunch is for. The bull is working over the fence here on the. He pretty much just pushed over the post right in front of us. This is in where we planted the apple trees. Now I'm gonna go over and try to straighten that up. Pecan trees over here. A lot of stockpile was in here, but it's pretty well eaten down now. Still some stuff for them to get, but a little bit shorter than I'd like. But they do look beautiful. This is what the bull did. It looks like he's done it over and over, but this is the bottom of the fence here. It's pulled up because I had it tied up here. Now it's hooked over, but this apparently is his favorite one to root around in. And so now there's a big old hole. So I gotta go get our post driver, see if I can straighten it out, knock it, maybe move it over and knock it back in. Look at that apple tree. Still has some leaves, believe it or not. Not all of it. All right, so our day's moving on here. Had our lunch, checked on the cows, and now we're trying to clear out some of this brush. I saw some cool videos on YouTube, and it looked like you could wrap up a strap around briars and privet and wood sticker bushes, everything you can, and cinches up on it and pulls her out. I did not have it set correctly, so that is all I got from round one. Came back, put it on correctly the next time. It really cinched down here. You can see when my dad starts pulling the truck. Well, I don't really have it on the tow hitch very well. I had so much extra slack, but we were kind of taking shortcuts. It was on there well enough. But it starts cinching up. You can see, there we go, there's the pull. It starts cinching up and it's starting to tighten around there. Everything's going exactly the plan. I'm about to pull out this huge clump. And here it comes. Bam. Strap broke. So it was rated for 744 pounds, I think. Kind of an odd number, but it didn't hold. So I don't know if it got snagged on a briar and it really just ripped it. So we brought in the heavy guns now. Pulled in this chain. I just did it on a small privet and came out easily. So maybe I should have done that with the straps at first. But that came out easily. Alright, so that little one in there was kind of my proof of concept. I wanted to make sure it would work. I didn't make the same mistake I did with the straps, using too small of a strap. But this is a 4,000 pound chain tow capacity. So this is a privet. It's got multiple trunks. It's pretty deep in there, and a lot of privet roots don't go that deep, so I had high hopes it was going to work. And I probably made a step too big to get to it as I work my way out of the briars in there. It's all set up. My dad starts pulling and nothing's happening at all. So the wheels are spinning a little bit. These are truck's fairly new to us and we don't have mud tires on it yet, so it's not working. So then I suggest my dad puts it in 4-wheel drive, backs it up, gives me some slack on it, puts it in 4-wheel drive, gives it a yank here. And you can see, well, come on, there it goes. It moved a little bit, and I think if I dug around the tree a little bit, it would have worked, but I didn't feel like going up to the house and getting a shovel to dig it. I really think we could go through this quicker with a just chainsaw coming in here and knocking stuff out. So maybe we cut it all out on the bottom, then we can use the strap and pull it out. That's kind of our next step, but we gave it a good try. It didn't work, and so we went back to chainsawing. That was the little one. I redid it on one more. I forgot we did one more. And it pulled out a little bit. It just slid off the top. It didn't have any resistance on it. So now we're on to chainsaw. We're in a different field. This tree's been down like 2 years, we think, at a minimum of a year. I think it's been closer to 2. And it was so much easier than that hardwood we were working on before. One is I only cut the small limbs with my weak chainsaw, and then my dad did the trunk, and then after, when he was taking breaks, hauling stuff away, I would use his chainsaw on the trunk. We got through it pretty easily, and then we haul it off. We work well together. You can see the cows come down and visit us. Wherever we work, they like to come and check us out, see if we have any sweet feed with us. But one will kind of lead the way, usually the bull, but not this time. And then they come and one by one, maybe 2 by 2 on sometimes, they'll come walking through and hang out with us. And then they're done with us. They run on past. There's my dad. He's so awesome, like I said. But there are the cows going up the hill. So we use things like the cows interrupting us as a good break try to catch her breath, maybe get some Gatorade. And you can see this where I was getting the cooler out a minute ago, and the cow started sneaking around on the side. I went to one side, he came to the other side, or she, excuse me, cow. And she was not in the mood to be petted or to be hand fed. Unless I had sweet feed, she wasn't going to come near me. We've had her for a couple years. You can see the number is 754. That means she was born in 2017. That's how we do our numbering, if you watched a cow video from a while ago. But she ended up being a little playful, just jumping around, and it was just fun to kind of watch her and the other cows. Well, we finished up our day of work down here, and I am flat tuckered out. So now I've got to drive back to Atlanta a couple hours to get up to Susie's, and I'll probably be sore tomorrow. My dad, who's 80, some reason won't be, so I like to think I worked harder than he did, but anybody who saw us out here knew that he always outworks me. But appreciate y'all watching. Thanks for tuning in. I know this is a little bit different of a video. So I had fun out here. I'm refreshed. I'll have a good day at work tomorrow. I have my head cleared from my therapy out here. Farm therapy is about as good as you can get outside of the garden. So thanks a lot for watching. We'll have another one hopefully in the next week or two. Bye.